Let's go, folks. Time for the Gibby Show.
How you doing, baseball fans? And welcome to another edition of the Gibby Show, brought to you by Miller Lite, the official beer of Major League Baseball and the Gibby Show. I'm John Arezzi, and joining me, he is the two-time manager of the Toronto Blue Jays. He was a member of the 1986 world champion New York Mets. He's the best-selling author of his memoir, Gibby, Tales of a Baseball Lifer, and also the narrator of the audio book. Joining us, as always, the star of the Gibby Show, the baseball lifer himself, direct from San Antonio, Texas, John Gibbons. Gibby, how you doing?
Doing good, Johnny. Let probably, appreciate the introduction there.
Oh, yeah. Well, the accolades are all true, my friend.
One of these days I might start believing it. Probably not, but
well, you've always been humble.
Humble pie.
Yes, you are.
I've had to eat too much humble pie at times, so you get humble.
That's true for all of us. I tell you that. It really is. But we are in a place right now where we're entering the final 2 weeks of the baseball season. Buckle your seatbelts. The Jays are in the thick of things after being left for dead by the sweep by the Texas Rangers, and then very alive coming back after a sweep of the Red Sox. We're going to get into all of that on today's show. And Gabbing with Gibby is going to be a special one today, brought to you by Tim Hortons. We have Jays rookie sensation Spencer Horwitz joining us. And inspired by our friends at Miller Lite, we will have another weekly roast and toast. But Gibby, let's get right to the leadoff. I'm telling you, anxiety watching this team is off the chart. 4 series remain in the 2023 regular season. 12 games against the New York Yankees and Tampa Bay Rays. 6 at home, 6 away. Jays are still one of the wildcard teams. Are in second right now with both Seattle and Texas tied for that third position. It's been one heck of a week, losing 4 in a row to Texas, being left for dead, sweeping the Red Sox. Gibby, what kind of roller coaster ride are Jays fans going to have in these final 12 games?
Hey, I don't know. I feel great, man. I don't know what the problem with it. No, you know what? Hey, this is the beauty of the wild card. You know, in Major League Baseball did this right. There's no question about it. Yeah, it's one of those years. It really is. You know, I don't think everybody's makes a prediction and they got to backtrack and what have you. Because you look at last week, you know, Texas had been struggling. They were struggling bad, and they come in there. You know, they won a couple games before they went to Toronto, and then you know what? Everything came together for them. They swept them, right? They were pounding the baseball. That's kind of who they are. They leave town, you know, in Toronto sweeps Boston. You know, then they go to Texas, goes to Cleveland and gets swept by Cleveland. Then they go home and they get beat by Boston last night. Who knows? All I can tell you is this: bet on the Blue Jays, man. You know what? They're in too good a spot right now, and they got too good a team. That's the reality of it. They got too much pitching in the rotation, and especially in that bullpen. You know, there's not another team out there that can match that. So you got to give credit where it's due. You know, through these roller coaster rides, everybody takes a lot of heat, right? The players, the coaching staff, the front office, and all that. But to be fair and to have any credibility, you got to give credit where it's due. And you look at the makeup of this team as far as the pitching staff, they got the best defense probably in the game, or at least equal to anybody. And you know what? They got good hitters. Maybe they haven't hit the home runs, but you know what? They're pretty good situational hitters. They can get hits when they need them. They got a good understanding of that, which I think is going to benefit them in the end. So we got to give credit there. Is it over? Of course not. But I think you'd rather be in where they're sitting right now when the Texas Rangers and Seattle Mariners are, because you know they play each other 7 times. No, but there's nothing automatic left. But you know what? They're too good a team not to get in.
All right, Gibby, following up on that, I mean, the Jays really have beat up on the bad teams who have been subpar 500 teams. But against the winning teams, for example, 15-25 versus the AL East, can this team be expected to beat those good teams if they get into the playoffs?
I don't know. I think they're like 3-0 against the Atlanta Braves this year. Remember that, and it's some of they're 2-1 against the LA Dodgers this year. They, yeah, obviously you're gonna have to beat the good ones when you get in. What was really hurting them was how they played against in their own division, right? I think when they played Boston, Boston won the first 7 of the season, right? Blue Jays have won the last 6. Okay, they've corrected that. Now they go up against Baltimore. They don't play them anymore. They got the Yankees, right? The Yankees got the edge in there. But 6 games, they can flip that there too, and even Tampa. So, but that's not their goal. Is to obviously if it ends up helping them beating those teams, when you come down to the head-to-head matchups and things like that, interdivision, whatever. Of course, those things help. But just get in, and they're sitting in a good. They were written off for dead, and they dropped a couple games, and next thing you know, they're on the outside looking in. Next thing you know, they're sitting in that number 2 spot. So you tip your hat. They got a lot of character on this team, the players, right?
Yeah.
But it's going to come down to one thing: the teams that usually win in the end have the best pitching, great defense, and nobody's better out there than these guys. So I fluctuate. I've always been a big fan of this team, but the more as we get down here to the end, it's tough to bet against them because they've hung in there. They could have disappeared under the pressure of it all and everybody beating down on them. But when you look at the makeup of their team, you got to salute somebody because they put together a pretty good one, a strong team that could do some damage. Time will tell.
A lot of excitement at the Rogers Center over the weekend. Those 2 walk-off wins were fabulous. But now we're at the point where 149 games are played already. It's been a grueling season for everybody. It takes an emotional and a physical toll on anybody, whether you're a player or a coach. But right now, as we enter the last couple of weeks, that physical or emotional taxing on your mind and on your body, do you throw that out the window? And now, does adrenaline now overcome those feelings of maybe being tired or emotionally spent?
Oh yeah, what these most of these guys on this team have been around a while. They've been through this grind. Maybe not like it's this year when you look at the postseason race, but the long haul, the 162 game season. They know all that. They've all been beat up. They know how to play through that. These guys are getting battle hardened too because there's so many times the roller coaster rider. Can they do this? Can they do that? Can they do this? They're done. Stick the fork in them. Next thing you know, they're alive again. Those guys are pretty tough, right? Major League Baseball players are pretty tough. They can, when it seems like the whole world's against them, they have the tendencies. The good teams, especially in this team, is a good team. They pull together, and it's us against the world kind of sometimes mentality. Well, okay, if you're going to jump ship on us, hey, we're going to stick together, and we'll see what then we'll welcome you back when you decide to come back. Because in fandom, like us, even it's like, oh, good one day, oh no, yeah, it's great, bad. But in the end, the good teams are going to win, and if they're good enough, they'll be there, and they are good enough.
And you say the biggest advantages for the Jays right now are 1, starting pitching, 2, the bullpen, 3, the defense.
Yeah, you go through every other team in the baseball, even in the National League. Who can match their pitching? Atlanta's got a couple of really good starters. They don't have the bullpen. The Dodgers are bullpen. I mean, the pitching staff isn't what it used to be, right? With Buehler and those guys down, and Kershaw, he got his health issues, and he's always been suspect in the playoffs anyway. Yeah. And he even go to the American League. Tampa's lost some key pitchers. They can. They're probably the top pitchers, even after losing those guys, pitching staff. They can, I think, come close to them because they got a solid bullpen. Baltimore, I don't think they have the pitching to get there. They pound it offensively, but is that what wins in the playoffs? I don't know. Houston, I think the Toronto's pitching staff, especially the bullpen, looks like Houston did last year when they won it all. I mean, you get in a bullpen game in the playoffs. I mean, they're tough to beat, right? Texas has no bullpen, and then Scherzer goes down and what have you. Seattle's got the pitching staff. But you know what? I don't think they have the bullpen the Blue Jays do. So they're in a good spot. What does that mean? We're going to find out. But I tell you what, they can run guys left and right out of that bullpen, and they can even stick one of their starters in the bullpen come playoff time because they're not going to eat them all anyway. Now you're really loaded.
Then you're really loaded is right. But on the other side of the coin, I mean, your observation, I mean, what do the Jays have to really improve on as we head into the final 12 games of the season?
Just get in. Just
That's
get
it.
in. Yeah, I mean, it's too late to worry about what we need to improve on this, but there's not enough games left. You know what? One I think people lose sight of sometimes that I think this team is really good at. Maybe everybody's wondering where'd all the home runs go. Okay, who knows, right? But the really good situational type hitting, they can get base hits, right? They can get singles, doubles, and occasionally the home runs. Even though Vladdy Jr.'s had 3 in a row, the last week. So that's what kind of wins in the playoffs, right? You're facing the better pitching. I can remember how many times, especially in 2016, 15, we were smoking, right? But our offense in 16, especially we got to that Cleveland series, who was always pitched really well. I can remember telling myself, okay, we just need a little base here. We don't need a home run, but we were a home run type hitting team. And so we got exploited, when we needed, maybe just a little base hit. This team can do that in the tight ball games when that's all you need. It's a pretty good thing to have. So even like the Atlanta Braves, they go out and they set all these home run records and all that. Maybe they can, but even they get into the playoffs, it's going to be hard to keep that up. I mean, it's because under the pressure rises and pitching or you're facing the better pitchers night in, night out. You're not running into that weak sister.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'll tell you, looking also at the schedule, I mean, Texas plays Seattle 7 times during the final 13 games. They also have 3 games against the Astros. Tampa Bay is battling Baltimore for the AL East title. Of course, the Jays have the Yankees and the Rays, but they don't go head-to-head with any of those teams that are right in the hunt with them. The Jays, do they have the best possible schedule to close out this season?
well, it's funny. You see everybody rates the toughness of schedule down there. You could throw that out the window too, because
You throw it
we
out.
were talking about Houston just lost 2 out of 3 in Kansas City. That. So who knows?
Who
And
knows?
then like we said, Texas got smoked three straight in Cleveland. Right? It's
Yeah.
like and although Cleveland's a formidable team. So you don't know. So I don't know if that even matters. All I know is this: they need to win some games. When they play Tampa, that's going to be tough. That could be a preview of what's to come, and they have to
Yes.
play 3 down there. So just don't sink in those games, and then I think they'll handle the Yankees fine.
Yeah.
They're out of it, but we'll see. But one thing's a given: I don't care what team you are, how good you are. It gets tough to win in this business when you have to win, because when you're playing somebody that's got nothing to lose, they relax, they let it all hang out. The nice thing is, though, when baseball changed that rule where you couldn't bring up everybody and their brother in September, so you had unlimited bench. At least now there's it's fair that way, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, those couple extra guys are certainly the most impactful that they could have brought up from the minor leagues for
Right.
sure. The Jays have had a different hero every day during the sweep of the Red Sox. Game 1, of course, Vladdy's 3-1 homer was all they needed. Game 2 was crazy, 13-inning wild one. Gabbin BGO pinch hit for Matt Chapman. He got a single, and then Dalton Varsho got that misplay triple. That was an amazing, magical moment from the baseball gods. And Sunday, another walk-off when Chapman comes through with the game winner in the bottom of the 9th. I do want to discuss Chappie for a second here. On Saturday, he was pinch hit for by John Schneider. And there was a shot on television of Schneider with his arm around Chappie, telling him why he made the move. And of course, Chappie's a pro. He doesn't want to be pinch hit for, in any situation, really. But Matt sat down. Gabbin came through, got the hit. And then on Sunday, Chappie gets the game-winning hit. So that was really cool to see. How hard is it for a manager to make that type of move, have that type of discussion with one of your main guys? Can you tell us about your opinions on that? And if you could compare it to any similar move you had to make when you managed the Jays?
It all depends on the makeup of your team. Yeah, obviously, I'm sure Schneider had told him even before that moment, hey, there may be a chance we may pinch it. He'd been hurt. He hadn't had many at bats. Came back. There may be a time I pinch hit for you. It was kind of desperation time. Would Chapman have liked that? Probably not. But he's a team guy. I would assume. But I don't think he just dropped it on him in the moment. So it all depends on the makeup of your team. They clearly they're not afraid to use pinch hitters for certain guys. The teams I had there that were successful anyway. You had your lineup. Now you're going to run those boys out there. That's what got you there. It really wasn't. We didn't set it up to have platoons or pinch hits or anything like that. Occasionally you might do it. Or you're going to. You might. The only thing you really did a lot of times was pinch run if you had a guy that couldn't run, right? Otherwise, these are your guys. You run them, man. Let's see what we got. But they have the benefit. This team they got some pretty good guys sitting on that bench, and they got a lot of lefty right ways they can counter you.
Yeah, a lot of depth.
Yeah, so it all depends on what your team looks like, and the game is so different now too. With the relief pitchers come in, they have to face three guys. So if you're on the team that the opposing team brings in a pitcher, he's got to face his three guys. So you could set yours up however. Where it used to be if you could yank a guy after a pitcher, there's a little more strategy to it. Well, is he going to do this? Do I need to? If I counter this, is he going to counter that? That's what I think's missing in the game a little bit. That I don't like that part. They have to face three. Okay, but but it does change the strategy a little bit because hey, that guy's in trouble. He brings this guy in. I can counter anything I want because that guy has to face three.
Yeah, rules have evolved and changed, and some are good, and some are kind of questionable. Like
it all depends on what you like.
Yeah,
how your makeup of your team.
Yep. Well, you are listening to the Gibby Show. It's presented by our friends over at Miller Lite. And it is Miller time at Chuck's Roadhouse this month. Look for the Miller Lite feature at Chuck's during September and enter for your chance to win a trip for two to a World Series game. There's still time to enter this contest, Gibby. I mean, going to a World Series would be special for anyone who gets that opportunity. And
yeah. You can see the Blue Jays. You never know.
A road game, probably, right?
Yeah.
You can go to a number of different beautiful cities around this around.
Well, there's a chance you could go to Texas twice, or there's two teams still in. I don't know. Well, it should be cooler by then anyway.
Absolutely. Visit www.millerlite.ca/2023 World Series contest for more information. Nothing goes better with baseball than Miller Lite, the official beer of the MLB.
Corner booths, sticky floors, weekdays that feel like weekends. You never forget the way some things taste. Miller Lite, great taste, 90 calories. Tastes like Miller time.
Well, Gibby, the Jays could have easily folded after being swept by the Rangers, but they did not. And although the sweep of the Sox was not a cakewalk by any stretch of the imagination for so many reasons, both the qualities of the team and some of the weaknesses of the Jays were on display. Gibby, this is not really a question, but it's going to be a week filled with anxiety for everyone associated with the team and a fan base that's living on the edge with them every single day. In your best Gibby logic, give the Blue Jays Nation, give the Blue Jays fans, give us all a pep talk, and let us know it's going to be okay.
Oh, yeah. All you got to do is open that newspaper today. You get yourself a Tim Hortons coffee, open up and check out the standings and say, hey, this is where we wanted to be. I mean, we would have, we'd take this any day of the week, right? But even more importantly than I know everybody's questions are offense and all that. Even I have that, you expected more home runs. Okay, that's not how it's worked out. But they're a pretty damn good team, and they got the ingredients that win. Pitching and defense. And you know what? When you look at the Blue Jays too, when they get in a lot of those extra innings or tight games, they start with it's not the postseason. You're not going to start with that guy on second base. but they got a knack at doing something and winning those games and get something good happening. And I think that'll be on display once they get in. But yeah, there's no guarantees. But I think Blue Jay Nation ought to feel pretty good right now.
It's going to be a very exciting last couple of weeks of the season. We're going to discuss it all right here on the Gibby Show. And
you know what, Johnny? Hey, they get in, they could win it all. They really could because they have pitching and defense. And when runs are at a premium in the postseason, they're not going to give anything away.
That'll wrap up the leadoff. And now it's time for Gabbing with Gibby, brought to you by Tim Hortons. Twist up your snack time with Tim's new savory twist, served warm in 4 cheese or everything seasoning. They're a buttery and flaky pastry, freshly baked throughout the day. Snack and go with Tim's new savory twists today.
Hey, go get some. Especially, you know what? Hey, I think it's hockey tryouts for young kids. It's a part of, when you're on the go, you got to get them to the rink, man. They got to have something in their belly, man. Right? Go get you one of those, or people are still waiting to go to, or the weather's still good enough to go up to the cottage, but you don't want to waste your whole day at a breakfast place.
You don't need a reason to go to Tim's at any given time throughout the day, morning, noon, and night. And it's just a wonderful place to get anything that your cravings desire. Today on Gabbing with Gibby, brought to you by Tim Hortons, we welcome one of the young guns in the Blue Jays arsenal. He is one of the Jays' brightest prospects, a 24th round draft pick in 2019, who is now right in the middle of this playoff run, currently batting .291 with an OPS of .823. We welcome Spencer Horwitz to Gabbing with Gibby. Spencer, great to meet you.
Great to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, I tell you what, Spence, we appreciate you taking some time in New York City, man. You got a big series, obviously, but congrats on getting to the big leagues. Achieving your dream, right? That's the number one thing. But for crying out loud, you're getting thrown right into the fire, man. It's like, and you know what? The most important thing is you're producing. You really are. You're helping that team win some games. And I can remember when I played for the Mets briefly in the 80s, right? And they always had good teams, pennant chasing teams. But when you get called up from the minor leagues in September, you could expand the rosters as many guys as you want, right? There was no chance if you were called up. There's no chance you're getting in the game, right? I mean, it's like you sit there and go warm up the pitcher or do something, or unless the team's getting blown out. But so we're saluting you, man. You've come up. You've gotten your first opportunity in the big leagues, and you know what? You're taking advantage of it. And hey, how does that feel?
It's it's everything I dreamed of. It's when you're a kid growing up, you want to be playing in Yankee Stadium in a pennant chase, and it's right where I want to be.
Johnny, go start him off, Johnny.
You got it. I mean, Gibby brought up that you're new to the show. You're here. You're in the middle of a pennant race, but you also have something kind of unique as well. You got a couple of your teammates from Buffalo right there alongside you, performing. But how is it like being in the dugout? Of course, with the big players of the Blue Jays, they're established stars. But you got Davis Schneider, you got Ernie Clement there with you. Tell us a little bit about how that experience is with you three guys together on the big club.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier, I think, for all three of us, is having a friendly face and a face that we've been alongside with for a few months now. And Davis, for me, I've been alongside him since 2019. So it definitely makes it it's more comfortable. It's you're playing first base and I see Davis at second and I see Ernie at short. It's just it's a familiar face is always a calming factor.
What did you do when Davis made his big impact at Fenway Park? I mean, were you watching? Did you hear about it? Tell us how you felt for your buddy.
Yeah, he got caught up. We were in Lehigh Valley. He got caught up. Everyone went crazy for him. Next day, he's in the lineup. We have a game at I think our game was at 7. Blue Jays game was at 7. So some guys had it on in the clubhouse. And I was in the field, and our hitting coach Matt Hay comes out like pointing to like with a 1-up. I'm like, what? Like, we're losing 2-0 in the second inning. I'm like, what is going on? And I come in, and he's like, Davis just hit a homer in his first at bat. I was like, no way. Yeah, so everyone was ecstatic for him.
Yeah,
Hey, now
he's still on a roll.
Hey, now it's time for you in Yankee Stadium, man. Take one over that short right field porch.
That's right.
That'd be nice, yeah.
Hey, you know what's really pretty amazing? You know, you and Davis were both drafted in the 20-something round, right?
Yeah.
You know, you've already defied the odds. You know, actually you got a great coach, your bench coach, your Mattingly was I'm not sure what round he was, but he wasn't like, we're talking about the number 1s, 2s, and where they give him a job, right? Listen, they give him every chance they can until they fail, right? You know how it works. But the fact, but you look at your numbers coming up through the minor leagues, and especially what you're doing this year in Buffalo, you've always been a very productive hitter, so in a lot of ways you defied the odds there, right? They were smart enough to give you an opportunity, but you got to keep proving yourself, and that's exactly what you're doing. And you got a chance to have a great long major league career.
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking about it the other night, and people were like, how, like, the Blue Jays, like, are you like mad at them for picking in the 24th round? I'm like, no, they're the only team that picked me, and I have nothing but love for them. So yeah, it's an opportunity that I took and hit the ground running with, and hopefully I can do the same up here.
Hey, well, who's your team? You grew up in Maryland, right?
Yeah.
Was Baltimore your team?
Yeah, the Orioles were my team.
Okay. Did you get to many games or anything?
Oh yeah, I grew up going to Camden Yards all the time, watching Adam Jones, Miguel Tejada, Matt Wieters, those guys. Yeah, it was awesome.
But now did you get to play Baltimore yet down there after you got called up?
No, so I got called up the first time in Texas. They were in Baltimore, so I went to Texas. It was just missed the Baltimore by a day, and the same thing happened by like 3 days in September.
Well, you could do that next year, man. That'd be pretty cool.
It would be, yeah.
Well, you know what? You guys may meet them in the playoffs.
That's true. Yeah.
Then you can rip that hose right out of their hand, brother.
Yeah, they got some young, exciting players themselves. But yeah,
definitely
a Blue Jays fan now.
Yeah, so you know what? You can look at it though. The way you guys are stacking up, you yourself, Davis, and some of the other guys on your team that are young, they got a good young team. For a lot of years down the road, I mean, there's going to be some battles between you guys. There's going to be a rivalry because everybody's young and talented. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. The Yankees too, with those young guys they're calling up.
Yeah, exactly. All right, get him, Johnny.
I asked this question to Davis when he did the show with us a few weeks back. Have you had a chance? I'm sure you probably have, but you've discussed your role over the next couple of weeks with manager John Schneider and into the postseason. Can you share with us those discussions on what your role is going to be for the remainder of the season, hopefully and potentially in the postseason?
Yeah, it's really that left-handed bat option on the team, whether it's DH first base or the left-handed bat off the bench. Yeah, with Brandon dealing with his back right now, it could be a little more, and we don't know how long he is. He's on the 10-day right now, and he's progressing pretty well, so that's good. But yeah, it's just being that left-handed bat option.
Just being available for anything. Another question for you, because when somebody makes the show, there's always a lot of firsts. There's your first game, there's your first hit, there's your first home run. What has been your favorite first so far in this very young stint in the major leagues?
I'd say definitely the home run, for multiple reasons. The night before, I got a pinch hit with the bases loaded, 2 outs in the top of the 9th, and didn't come through. And that one really weighed on me. And then to get back in there the next day and contribute to the team, I think I had 3 hits, 2 RBIs, and then the homer. It definitely felt really good to get back in there and come through for the team.
Add a twist to snack time with Tim's new Savory Twists. They're a buttery and flaky pastry, served warm in 4 cheese or everything seasoning, so you can enjoy a quick and tasty snack break anytime. Try Tim's new Savory Twists today.
Hey, Spence, the toughest job in baseball is pinch hitting.
Yeah.
Really, especially for a young kid that's just cutting his teeth. It's hard enough to hit in the big leagues anywhere. It's hard to hit. When you're in there every day, right? It's that roller coaster ride. But when you finally go to the big leagues, and now you're waiting for that. You're chomping at the bit. You're waiting. You never know when you're going to be called upon. That's doubly tough. So when you say you didn't come through well, you know what? I guarantee you this. It's you're going to fail a lot in that job. But the fact that you bounce back and you keep the right mental attitude. I love the way the team's utilizing you guys. Like I said, it used to be in the olden days that they wouldn't use young guys when they came up, right? They'd go to a veteran or whatever. That's just kind of the mentality. I wasn't necessarily smarter by any means, but I love the way that he's got confidence in you or anybody that's starting the game on the bench, and he'll pinch hit and all that. And it makes you guys stronger.
Absolutely. I think that's what makes this team so good is whether you're starting that day or not, you're most likely going to be in the game in a situation, whether for defense or offense or pinch running, something. Yeah, we're going to use the whole bench.
Now, do you find yourself, because I know down there it's not a good situation where the hitting cages are out there in left field, and I can remember guys that weren't in the game when I was there that they'd be running going down there to get some swings in, and you go, hey, we're so and so. Oh, he's in the cage. We'll get him down here. Let's go. He's got a hit. Is that what you guys do in between innings? You run down there?
Oh yeah, I'm always in the cage underneath during the game getting swings so I can be ready.
And they got the bat phone sitting there right there in case somebody calls down and said, hey, where's Spence at? Let's go.
Yeah, when Brandon went down the other day, someone had to come running up and get me, and then I just went right from the cages right to the on-deck circle.
Oh, that's beautiful. See, people don't know that stuff. People have no idea what's on a major league team, what goes on behind the scenes. Even in a $1 billion industry, there's some of the stupidest, craziest things. Some of the simplest things. Oh man, see, someday you'll be able to write a book. I guarantee you.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be cool. What do you got, Johnny?
I got a couple of other questions for you. This year you played in the World Baseball Classic for Team Israel. Tell us about your experience at the WBC this year and how important that tournament is to the players of various countries.
Yeah, I think the tournament's not just important to the players. I think it's important to the game. This year it was, I think it was like the most viewed baseball's had in years. And and I felt it in that stadium, the energy when you're playing against Puerto Rico, Dominican, Venezuela, Nicaragua is unbelievable. It was my first time playing in a big league stadium. So it made my debut a lot easier. And we had a great team, great staff. We were led by Kinsler, Euclid, Brad Osmus. So yeah, we had some really wise guys on the bench and some really talented players, and got a big win against Nicaragua.
Yeah, there was a picture that was sent out on social media that was taken at the WBC of you and New York Mets and legendary baseball PR executive Jay Horwitz, who Gibby knows very well, tweeted out a photo of you and him in the dugout at the WBC saying, "Congrats to my grandson, Spencer Horwitz, on his promotion to the Blue Jays. A proud Grandpa Jay." Now, a lot of people thought this was real, and it's even listed on your Wikipedia profile that Jay Horwitz is your granddaddy. So tell us about meeting Jay and the response to that social media post.
Yeah. First met Jay at the WBC. He was our public relations guy. And he came up to me one day and was just like, are you my grandson? I was like, I don't think so, but we can say I am. Like,
I hope not.
I've never met someone who spells Horwitz the same way as I do. So yeah, he's like, come here, grandson, give me a hug. And then we just rolled with it through the tournament. We got that picture and he tweeted it out and it kind of blew up. And yeah, a lot of people do believe he's my grandfather now, but no, there's no relation. But Jay's an awesome guy. Yeah,
but here's the thing on that. I because it's on your Wikipedia, and when I was talking to Gibby. We always, text or so before we start a show, and this was yesterday, then or the day before. When I told him about, I sent him the tweet with the photo, and Gibby responded right back, "Is this real?" And I was like, "I think it is. It's on his Wikipedia." And then he goes, I'm gonna call Jay Horwitz, and then Gibby, finish the story. You talk to Jay.
Oh yeah. But, hey, first off, you're too good looking, man, to be related to Jay. Let's not kid ourselves. And Jay worked too hard in his life to ever have a family anyway. It's like, a funny thing about Jay, when I got drafted in 1980, I think that was Jay's first year as became the PR director for the New York Mets in 80, right?
It was.
And so the day of the draft, I was at my high school hitting some baseballs out on the field, and one of the coaches ran out to me, "Hey, you got a phone call, right?" And so I go in there, and a guy gets on the phone. I can barely understand him. He's like, he's spitting all over me or something. And he says, he said, "Congrats, you got drafted by the New York Mets." Blah blah blah. So Jay was the first guy I ever met when I got into pro ball. So when I saw that, awesome. I was actually hoping you were his grandson, because there's not a better human being in the world than that guy.
Yeah, he's got stories for days.
Oh, he's one of the. I tell you what, I don't know if you ever told. The guys on those teams in the 80s, there was a crazy bunch. They used to mess with a horse. I've never seen a better mind. You can tell him you need something 2 months down the road, tickets for somebody. He will not forget it. He won't even write it down.
Yeah, he's one of a kind.
So anyway, we got to let you get going here so you can get to the ballpark. But listen, we appreciate you coming on the show, taking some time. You're off to a great start. You're going to have a great career. You guys are in a prime spot right now. You know what? And it'd be nice to see you guys get in there. You got a chance to win it all, and you're going to be a big part of that. You help, some of the things you young guys have done since you've come up, from the minor leagues, has really helped stabilize some things there. When the team was desperate, they needed some things. It's a rocky road. It's up and down, and you guys came through. So we salute you for that, man. Great going.
Thank you. Yeah, we're excited. Just one game at a time, 12 games left. Just got to get in there, and then anything can happen from there.
Hey, are you gonna have like a mustache thing like old Davis and all that, man? For crying
when
out
I debuted, I had a little mustache, and then his was just better than mine, so it took off.
So you grew the beard along with it now?
So I just do the beard now, yeah.
What, did everybody in Buffalo have it was a mustache show or what?
No, we were roommates in Buffalo, and we weren't hitting that great, so we got to change something up. We went with the mustache.
You two weren't hitting that great? Something? No way. No, forget.
had a bad few games.
You had a bad game. Okay, all right. Well, listen, Spence, good luck, pal. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Say hello to everybody for us.
Will do.
Wraps up another Gabbing with Gibby, brought to you by our friends at Tim Hortons and Spencer Horwitz. What a really good kid he seems to be.
Yeah, real pro, John. He's doing a heck of a job, and not in a difficult role. You finally get to the big leagues. You're not used to playing. You're used to playing every day, and now you're not getting that at the highest level. And so it's easy to lose your time, and you're facing better pitch and all that good stuff. And yet he's been very productive. Now he's got a role, one of the toughest roles in baseball, pinch hitting, those kind of things. And he's doing a tremendous job. So kudos to the Blue Jays. There's a couple of him and Snyder, 20th round, 20+ round draft picks that have both contributed in a pennant stretch.
It's good to see the young kids getting a chance and performing and helping the team out, and that's what it's all about. Well, inspired by our friends over at Miller Lite, Gibby, it's time for this week's Roast and Toast. Maybe an old fuddy-duddy. I'm talking about myself personally, not about you. I think this week we got to take a look at the change to the playoff system. Instituted last year for the first time, but could very well have an impact on this year's postseason. And that's the tiebreaker rule. For years, if two teams were tied at the end of the season, a playoff to break that tie would take place. The first happened in 1946 when the St. Louis Cardinals beat the Brooklyn Dodgers in a playoff to determine the National League winner. classic tiebreaker playoffs included Bobby Thompson's shot heard round the world in 1951 when the Giants beat the Dodgers, the Bucky Dent game in 1978 when the Red Sox lost to the New York Yankees in a one-game playoff, advancing the Bronx Bombers as the AL East winners. But that all changed in 2022 when MLB went to a system where if there is a tie at the end of the season, then the team with the most wins over the other would advance. This is very much in play this year with the Jays, Rangers, Mariners, and Astros. They could all face the reality of being eliminated if they didn't win the season series against the other team. Bring back the old system, this fuddy-duddy says. And so for this week, I have to roast the MLB tiebreaker rule.
Hey, we can't forget, well, it wasn't if you don't win, you don't get in the playoffs. With the Encarnacion in 2016, one game, winner take all, Boston and Baltimore, he walked them off.
Yeah.
But no, hey, you know what? I totally get it. I understand that. I think everybody would like to see that, but I think it's come down to, when you get all these extra games, and when you're moving the wild card games instead of just that play one game and the winner moves on to a best of three.
Yeah.
You're running out of time, and logistics figures in and all that. So so it is kind of crazy.
You don't want to be playing around Thanksgiving, I guess, is what you're saying too. Right?
Yeah. You know what's kind of though. I understand the head to head. If you played, you beat that team more times, and I understand that one. But the other one entered in your division because there's some divisions are definitely stronger than others. There's no question about that. So, but what are they going to do? I think everybody loves the wild card, the extra wild card team, and so we just gotta have to live with it. But hey, the world is a changing, dude.
I know.
You think it's ain't just this?
I know. Every time they change something in baseball, it kind of hits a little bit harder and deeper. Just because I'm such a purist of the game. And
the commission ain't worried about you and me.
No, he's not. No, he's not. Not at all. Not an iota. No. Let's go to the person that we're going to toast this week, and you've heard of horse whisperers, Gibby, I'm sure. Well,
yes.
This week we're going to toast a bat whisperer. Somebody that's been injured but still wanting to contribute is Danny Jansen. And George Springer was in the middle of an 0 for 19 slump. Springer sitting next to Danny in the dugout on Sunday, and Danny starts talking to the barrel of the bat of Springer, whispering to it, saying nice things to it. Lo and behold, in the 8th inning, Springer gets up, lines a 96-mile fastball up the middle for a base hit, and it's the funniest thing was like when he reached first base, Springer made kind of an appreciation known. He did one of those Breakfast Club high fives, pointing to Jansen in the dugout with a childlike grin on his face. Jansen wasn't afraid to take some credit for it. He let starter Chris Bassett know what he did, and that he had a little chat with Springer's lumber. And it's safe to say that some of the other slumping Blue Jays will be seeking some counsel from the bat whisperer in the future for everything that he did to talk niceties to that bat. This week, we're going to give the toast to the bat whisperer himself, Danny Jansen.
Well, hey, you assume he was saying nice things to that bat. He could have been tearing that bat apart.
He could have been threatening it.
But hey, Danny Jansen, the ultimate teammate, right? The ultimate team player. He's trying to. He's on the IL now with that finger problem, and he's contributing. He's helping out any way he can. So
exactly.
It's funny. Everybody's in baseball so superstitious, and they'll try different things, and even with they'll try crazy things, and whatever works. I can remember it was in AAA at the time, but we were in Rochester, New York, and we were on a losing streak, right? And it was cold. It was early part of the year, so everybody had to contribute something. Where some people get bats and jersey, some jock strap, shoes, whatever. And they had this big old barrel out in the bullpen. Everybody threw that thing in there, and they lit it on fire. It was like the exorcism for the team. This wasn't about a bat. I don't remember if we won that night, but or whether we weren't very good. But eventually, it worked. So people will try crazy things, but it doesn't surprise me. Danny's trying to help out, and that may catapult Springer into another MVP in the postseason.
You never know. You never know.
Corner booths, sticky floors, weekdays that feel like weekends. You never forget the way some things taste. Miller Lite, great taste, 90 calories. Tastes like Miller time.
Hey, let me ask you though. You said about horse whispers. These people that horse whisper. I need a dog whisperer, man. I got these two dogs that are out of control. They don't seem to be making any progress.
Waylon and John, you got to go out and bring somebody in, a coach, a whisperer, to take care of these bad boys.
I'm not sure that works. It worked for Danny, though.
Well, it certainly did, and we hope that you have a resolution to your Waylon and Willie problem with their behavior right now. Gibby, I guess we're going to follow up with you on that next week, as we will be following up with you on what's going to prove to be another exciting week as we head to the finish of the 2023 regular season. That'll wrap up this edition of the Gibby Show. For John Gibbons, this is John Arezzi. We will talk more baseball with you next week. Have a great week, everyone, and go Blue Jays.